Hope everybody's having a great Friday. The Xbox 2 podcast is now live. How's everybody doing? Sorry we're doing it on a Friday, but you know who to blame. You know who is to blame.
Why you always blame me?
Well,
I suppose it is my fault.
yeah, I mean,
but life happens, man. I mean, what can I do about life?
I know. I'm just letting people know because last week we said it would be on Thursday,
Yes.
and things happen like Jess says. Speaking of Thursdays, you asked me if we could permanently move the podcast to Thursdays.
Yes.
Because it's better for you. Wednesdays are a little bit tougher. So this point going forward, we're going to try to do the podcast every Thursday. Because like Jess says, life happens.
It's much easier for me on a Thursday. And I apologize to anyone for the inconvenience, and especially you, dearest buddy Rand.
It's okay. I'm good. I'm good. Whatever day, whatever makes it easier for you is good for me. I know you. You have a lot to deal with Windows Central. You're busy neck deep reading all those interesting articles about cell phones and computer parts today or whatever.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Oh yeah. So from now on,
Best deals on RAM. That was my favorite article today.
Yeah, so from now on, the podcast will at least be aiming to actually, start on Thursdays at the regular time, 3:00. And if we don't get it done on Thursday, then we have always Friday to fall back on. And maybe, who knows, maybe it'll be Friday or Wednesdays as well if, Jess says, we can't do Thursdays or whatever. But either way, we're going to do the show every single week. It just depends on when we can get together and do the show, It's not like we have 6 other people to rely on here, It's just me. It's just Jez. So yeah, how was your week, Jez? You have a good one? Wednesday was Traders Day, as you called it on Twitter.
Day. Happy Traders Day. Happy late Traders Day to all the lovely Americans in our illustrious podcast chat. But nah, man, it's cool, man. It's cool seeing like people celebrating and happy in America for a change. People seem to be unhappy and angry a lot of the time in America and the UK, and anything that is positive is worth celebrating. I would say.
So, do you think in a few years you'll be celebrating your independence from the EU?
No, because I'm going to move my ass to Germany. But judging by, you know what? I'm not even going to get into it. Not even going to get into it, Rand.
You're not even going to get into it.
It's too much. We must talk about video games. But on the topic of how I've been this week, I've been bored, Rand.
You've been bored?
There's been no big news this week, really.
I know. I mean, there hasn't been. Like, I kind of took a break from YouTube for a little bit because, it's like some of the negativity was getting to me a little bit, Plus, there wasn't really anything to talk about, and YouTube started to become like something I needed to do rather than something I wanted to do. And at that point, I was like, okay, you need to just take a step back. Like, I'm not doing this because I need to do it. I want to do it because I need to do it, but I want to do it because I want to do it because I enjoy the hobby. So I was like, I'm going to take some time off for a little bit. And it, coincided with the lack of anything to really talk about. But I'm actually feeling the compulsion to actually make videos again because, quite frankly, I enjoy making videos. I enjoy podcasting, especially with you. So I just wish there was more to talk about. I wish there was more things to discuss. I mean, we do have a topic list. They're talking about NieR Automata, which we'll get into in a couple minutes because I finished it. 26 hours, 3 playthroughs. I know Jez is, getting into it. I put up my review. Check it out if you guys haven't already. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Sony doing what Sony does, blocking crossplay with Fallout 76 this time, Anger and Bethesda and Todd Howard. We'll talk about that. Supposedly, rumors, speculation, the next Xbox could be next year, according to job listings and NDA info.
God.
We'll probably break down the probability, the likeliness of all that happening. Sunset Overdrive 2 was leaked. Is it true? I mean, there's some things to talk about, but not really. And then me and Jez are gonna have what like a mock debate kind of here, where Jez is gonna take the side of PlayStation,
Yes.
and I'm gonna
We're
take the
gonna live
side
in
of
Bizarro world.
yeah. So I don't know.
This might be harder than I think.
It might be. It might be for you. For me, not so much. Maybe I should be the one shilling for PlayStation because I get accused of doing that anyways. But I think it'd be more funnier to see you shill for PlayStation than it would be for me. So, like, because we were thinking, like, hey, how can we make the podcast better? Because it's like, yeah, we talk about the topics and what we played and all that stuff, but a couple friends of mine were like, what would make the podcast really interesting? Why don't you set up debates between it? It's just you and Jez. It's a 2-person show. Why don't you set up a debate between both of you? And I was thinking, I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Like, you really necessarily couldn't do it in a 5-person show or a 4-person show because it's a little too many people. But for a 2-person show, yeah, I think it fits. So we'll talk about that as well. And any of your topics you guys post in the chat, I'm always looking at it. If you want your topic read right away, there's always super chat, and you know how it all works. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we are gonna get the podcast rolling. So, Jez, I know you've been busy playing games with Mr. Roby1 on Mixer, the morning Mixer. What have you been playing? I know you're getting in the mood for some Division 2, so I think you started a new character, right?
Yeah, so I mean, backstory, I reviewed The Division. Was it 2016 when it came out?
Jeez, was it 2015? I don't know.
2016? I don't even remember. But I reviewed the original Division, and I got to 30. I was playing with my friends at the time, before they got jobs, kids, uni, and all that stuff. And we did the incursions, got all the exotics and all that stuff. I didn't really get too deep into the min-maxing and stuff like that, but I found the end game to be aggressively shallow when the game first launched, like really disappointing. But everyone says it's good now, and there's reports that the player base has tripled on PC alone. And you have to expect that the player base has grown on Xbox too.
So yeah, how's the player base? Yeah, I was gonna ask: are there more people playing it on Xbox now that it's in Game Pass and pretty cheap?
Well, I saw loads of people leveling up and stuff like that. Apparently, there's still like a 10 to 15 minute queue to get into some of the end game PvP modes and stuff like that. But that's pretty normal-ish. I mean, sometimes in World of Warcraft even there's like 15, 20-minute, 30-minute queue. But it feels really nice now. I mean, it's still a little buggy. It crashed on me like several times as I was leveling up, which is weird. But the time to kills really feels improved. Like everything feels less spongy than it used to. And also Ubisoft give you some gear if you're coming back to the game after a while. They give you some gear to help you catch up really fast to get to the end game stuff. So I managed to jump ahead a bit and get all the cool gear sets and talents that sort of actually give you playstyle customization. So whereas when I played before, pretty much everyone was rolling with the same build. But now, the talents are a bit more balanced out, and there are actually several viable playstyles at endgame now. Mm-hmm. Whereas back in the day, pretty much everyone was running around with Survival Link and specific stuff. But the meta's a bit more interesting now, and complicated. Even I was browsing the subreddit, and people are doing spreadsheets and all this stuff, trying to work things out, theory crafting, like World of Warcraft style, and I was quite impressed. So. I've been having a great time. We hit 30 yesterday. I'm playing a tanky build with a ballistic shield, walking around, trying to take aggro and disrupt the enemy while Roby runs around sniping and healing and stuff like that.
The thing was, I enjoyed going from 1 to 30. That wasn't the problem of the game. Going from 1 to 30 and doing the story stuff was great. It was what happened after you hit 30 that was the big problem for a lot of people.
Yeah, I know. And that's the bit that I haven't really experienced yet. But now there's there's the underground, which I'm told is similar to Diablo's procedurally generated rifts. Like, there's all the incursions to do, and there's loads of different stuff to do, and they all reward exotic gear that sort of scales up to your level and stuff. So I'm hoping that'll be more interesting now. But I'll come back with a more detailed report on Division 2's endgame next week. I'll probably write an article about it. Like, is it worth getting back into Division now? Because I did something similar for World of Warcraft and it was pretty popular. So there's that. But other than that, Rand, I've been playing NieR Automata a bit, but we'll talk about that in the section. And I've been playing a little bit of Vampyr, which I'm still intending to review.
Chugging away at it for a review.
Yeah, man, it's a slog. It's become a slog now. Like, I was enjoying it for a while, and now I'm just like, oh, I really want this to be over now. Kind of. I don't know. I really don't know how I feel about it. I need to like reflect. But like, sometimes there's parts in Vampyr where it's like, man, I'm really loving this, and then there's other times where it's like, wow, I just feel like I'm grinding, and all the spells are just sort of arbitrary, and the loot doesn't matter, and it just kind of starts feeling boring again, And there's no fast travel system, but you have to like go backwards and forwards to make sure people have got their medicine and stuff like that, which is like the ultimate fetch quests, but in reverse. And it's frustrating in a lot of ways, but I don't know. I'll collect my thoughts on that as well. But I've mostly also this week gotten back into Surviving Mars because
you love that game.
I love Surviving Mars, man. But they updated it recently with lots of new features that fixed problems with the base game from a few months ago. Like, they added automatic larger storage areas, so like you don't just get stuff piling up, and there's more mysteries. Like, UFOs swarmed my base while I was playing this time, which was added different, forced you to change your playstyle and stuff like that. I won't go in too in depth to Surviving Mars because I'm not sure how much of an audience it has really, but it's
we talked about Surviving Mars a lot because you were playing it at the very beginning when it first came out.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love sci-fi. I love strategy games. I love city builders. It's an awesome game. It's still got some of the bugs though from months ago, which is annoying, but they've supported it pretty well. I'm interested to see if they keep supporting it. It does have a big roadmap, I think. But what have you been playing, Rand? What have you been? Regale us with tales of your gaming week.
So, I started playing the Spectrum Retreat for review, because it's
what is that?
You know how I do my Rand's Indie Spotlights, and it's kind of taken some time away. Like, I haven't really done one in like a month. It's because the indie games that come out, none of them have really caught my attention. You know what I mean? A lot of them have actually been crap, and like, so I gotta kind of be interested. And I saw a trailer for the Spectrum Retreat. It's by Ripstone Games. It's I really can't even really talk about it because the embargo is set for next week. But I'm currently playing that for a review. So look forward to like a video for that next week. Can't even really say if I'm enjoying it or not, but it's a puzzle game in the vein of Portal or the Turing Test. So if you played those games, you kind of know what to expect. So I've been playing that. I've been also playing The Crew 2. Look for a video review for The Crew 2 either tomorrow or Sunday. The more I play it, the more I kind of don't like it. Jack of all trades, master of none. It is kind of an easy 1,000. You just got to put the time into it. But I don't know, like, I thought ended up being like the beginning of the game ended up being like the best part of the game. Like, it still drives well, it controls well, and there's a good sense of speed. But like all the different events, and like I'm just not a fan of a lot of them, and I'm forced to kind of play them to be able to like beat the game. So like I have my issues with Crew 2, but I'll go more in depth into that during the review. PUBG. So I played a lot of PUBG as I always do. It's like, I don't know what it is. It's a drug that I always come back to. I'm 21 days into the game now, Jazz, and officially, I think it is my most played game of this entire generation.
I know that feeling when you just sort of when a shooter gets into your muscle memory and it just becomes your go-to shooter. I was like that with Battlefield 1 and 4 and 3 and well,
Yeah,
pretty much just Battlefield
it's just
and Unreal Tournament and stuff like that. And Overwatch. Like if I ever just fancy playing the shooter, I usually just jump on Overwatch because I just know how to play it. But whereas PUBG, it's like I never sort of broke that barrier of learning towards having fun. I never broke that barrier for some reason.
yeah, and I think mostly it's because all my friends want to play it. So it's like there's always 3 or 4 or 5 people willing to play it, you know what I mean? And
I think that's why I can't get into it. It's because like I find it hard to schedule to play stuff, and like I just none of my friends play it, and when I do schedule to play stuff with them, we usually just play games that we know how to play, like Monster Hunter or something like
right.
that.
So for me, like, and the thing is, like, we do pretty well, especially the A team, the squad, the 3-man squad that just rocks it. Me, Gopher, and Magic. So this past week, me, Gopher, and Magic, we won 12 games. We went on a 6-game winning streak in
Oh
a
my God.
row. Like we were just we were doing so good that we thought they changed the true skill rating. Because you know, like it'll collect people together of similar skill,
Yeah.
and like sometimes we would struggle to win a game a night. Like that. I think it was like that Friday we won 4 games, and it was like, holy crap, we're doing really well. And then the next day we won 1 game out of 3. We took a break, and we come back, and we won the next 6 games in a row. And we were like, whoa, what's going on? And then, like, it played yesterday. I think we won 1 or whatever. But, like, I'm up to, like, 120 wins. Got over, like, 1,000 kills. Like, Magic just dominate. Dude, Magic has, like, 3,000 kills in that game. Gophers, a little, like, 2,300. Right? Like, they're really good. And, yeah, you could argue they carry me. But I do my job, Like, I don't know.
The only times I've got dinners in PUBG is when I've been carried.
Yeah.
I think like I've the 2 chicken dinners I've got, like I had like 1 kill or 2 kills, and everyone else had like 5 or something like that. And my kills were like totally luck, where I've got a shotgun and I come upon someone with their back turned to me or something, and I literally cannot lose. I have killed someone with the crossbow though, which
I
made me really proud.
I've not done that yet. I have not killed anybody with the crossbow because I don't really pick up the crossbow.
I always go for the crossbow, man, because I feel like if I'm gonna die, I might as well have an excuse.
No, I mean, understandable. It's just it's so weird. It's like when you're winning in PUBG, it feels so good, and then like when you lose, it's like, especially when you lose in the beginning, it sucks. So I always go back to that.
It's hard to get over that. It's hard to get over that. The learning curve for me.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm sure we'll play more over the weekend. Hopefully we can get that 3-man squad together and get another like 10 wins or whatever. I'm just kind of waiting for the achievements to come out. Version 1.0,
They announced didn't they announce something for PUBG today, like limb penetration or something?
Yeah, they announced some different things for it, and
map selection and bullet penetration through limbs.
Yeah. So they announced all that stuff, and I don't know. It's just and it's funny because like we were like okay, are we this good as a 3-man squad? Or like did they change the true skill? But then you play with other people and it's like, no, true skill seems the same. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know if it's just like just that 3-man squad and we just wreck, like I'm not really sure what the answer is to that, but so still enjoying PUBG, even though like I kind of wish like none of my friends wanted to play it anymore, so I could just kind of just play other stuff, because it's always like, all right, I'm gonna play more Cure 2, or I'm gonna play more of this game and maybe start this game, but then like, nope, I get those invites and they're like, we need you for, and I'm like, oh man, and then it's like, okay, I'll play for 2 hours, and then 2 hours becomes like 5 hours, and it's the whole night, and you're like, oh my god, what happened? So that's that, but mainly this entire week was dedicated to NieR Automata.
Yes.
I put out my review. I put 26 hours into the game. I beat the game 3 times. Well, technically, I beat the game full three times, and I used chapter select to see the fourth ending D, which then prompts you to get the actual true ending and the final credits for ending E. So I got to experience all that. I know you are not even really halfway on your first playthrough, but you
Yeah,
are enjoying the
I
game,
guess
though,
so.
right?
Yeah, I'm really, really enjoying the game. Like, I bought it on Steam and just never got around to. I think I got past like the second boss or something, and then I just never got around to playing on with it because I just don't PC game that much. But obviously I picked it up on Xbox, and yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's a stunning game. Like the music's absolutely
Oh my
awesome.
god, the music!
Yeah,
I can't stop. I'll just be doing stuff on the computer, and I'll just have the soundtrack playing.
it's bloody good. Combat's really slick. The story's like so far, no spoilers, please, but the story's like really intriguing. Like I'm worried it's gonna go full anime on me and just be like WTF by the time I get to the end. But well, I say worried, but I actually kind of like that in anime. But
I said in my review that the plot is very Japanesey.
Japanesey. That's
Yeah.
a good way of putting it. Yeah. Have you ever seen Evangelion?
Nope, I have not.
You should watch that sometime, man. That's like peak Japanesey. But anyway, I digress. It's a good game. It seems great. I'm looking forward to getting through to the end. But man, 2B is quite attractive.
Yeah. Did you have how many times have you tried looking up her skirt? Huh?
Well, Xbox Live actually tracks it. So I'm gonna check. I'm gonna compare us.
Yeah, you compare our stats. Compare.
I'll compare our stats. Let's go. All right. So I'm going to achievements.
Yeah, 2B. I know. Gopher was like, Rand 2B. She's thick, and I'm like, oh yeah. He's like, oh yeah. He's like, you can play without her skirt on. Her skirt. You can take that off. And he's like,
really?
Yeah. Look at him in chat right now. He says top tier waifu.
Top tier. He's not wrong. Okay, so seriously, my voyeurism attempts are 0.
What?
On NieR Automata.
0? You haven't even tried? You haven't even tried to sneak a peek?
So I sorry. Okay, so there's a voyeurism leaderboard, right? And my brother is at the top of the leaderboard.
Damn.
I gotta screenshot this. He's getting trolled later. Oh my god, that is so funny. Oh man, that is hilarious. So this voyeurism leaderboard is quite interesting actually. So the Rand, you are 5th on my leaderboard.
5th
with two voyeurism attempts.
2.
Not too bad.
Okay.
But my brother has 24
voyeurism. Ooh. He's Randy. He really wants to know 2B's secret.
That's so funny. My other brother has got 1 attempt. But that is
yeah, it actually does track the time spent without you wearing a skirt. And
I bet he doesn't know that. And I'm gonna send that screenshot to the family WhatsApp group now.
You should. You definitely should.
Oh, that makes me so happy. He's got a little gold crown and everything for his voyeurisms. Oh god, that is too funny, man. Oh man, I'm really happy now. But yeah, she I would never look up 2B skirt because I'm not that kind of gentleman. So every time she's jumping, I close my eyes, man. Like, that's true playing on hard mode.
That is true. So the thing about NieR Automata is that you need to play the game 3 times.
Yes.
Because to see everything, because the first playthrough that's not the entire story, because I was explaining to you off air, but essentially you play through the game as 2B, then you play through the second playthrough from 9S's perspective, doing the same things you did in the first playthrough, and he's got a different fighting style. He hacks enemies. Sometimes he's not with 2B in the first playthrough, so you get to see what he was doing, so it's a little bit different in that regards. But then the third playthrough is like literally takes place right after the ending of the first playthrough. So it's like a sequel or DLC or whatever you want to call it, literally in the game. So like the third playthrough is crucial because it'd be like you playing half a game and then stopping and be like, "Oh, game's beat," but it's not. It continues to go.
Interesting.
Yeah, so like if I had to rank the playthroughs, I think the third playthrough is the best, followed by the first playthrough 1, and then obviously playthrough 2 probably the worst, or not the best, just because you're going through stuff you already seen. And then if you get all 4 of the main endings, you see the what they call the final credits, and then they do something really interesting, and I'm kind of curious to see how many people actually chose this, right? So when you go through the final credits, it becomes this like shoot 'em up game, right? Like you control this character and you're shooting down like the credits. It'll be like Platinum Games comes down and you gotta destroy it. But it gets really, really difficult, and you'll keep on dying, and like these dialogue choices will keep on coming up, like, "Oh, do you want to continue?" Blah 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 blah, and you're like, "Yeah, of course," and you keep on doing it, and then eventually you'll get help. It'll ask you if you need help, and then other real characters from the game that have played it will actually come to help you. And then when you actually do beat the credits, the game does this thing where I sat there, Jez. I sat there and kind of was like, "Oh, okay." And they ask you to give up your save file, to completely delete your save file, so you can go help somebody else the way that somebody else just helped you complete the final credits. Yeah. So I sat there and I'm like, do I want to delete my save to help out a stranger complete the credit sequence just like some strangers help me complete the credit sequence? And I thought that was pretty damn brilliant. So I actually sat there for a good couple minutes thinking, do I help somebody else out in the way that somebody helped me out? Do I give up my save file? Everything that I've worked towards? And start fresh? So luckily, I had, after I had beat the game on my third playthrough, I used the shop to buy all the achievements I was missing. So I had 1,000 out of 1,000 in the game. And I did the noble thing, Jez. I gave up my save to help somebody else out in the world for when they go through that final credit sequence.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You are a hero, Ran.
That's right. I'm a damn hero. But it's such an interesting thing when you think about it, because what other game really does that? By the way, you're going to do this and give up your entire save file? It's like, oh man, that's a tough choice. And shout out to Jesse Darby for the super chat. Thanks for the support, buddy. Me and Jez appreciate it. But yeah, I don't mean, like, I can't really speak high enough of NieR Automata. It's a great game. One of Platinum's best. Maybe not better. It's not better than Bayonetta. Maybe I don't think it's even as good as Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. But it's right there. And yeah, honestly,
I thought Metal Gear Revengeance had like better combat. Personally,
yeah, I'll agree with you.
This is more. I mean, especially with the dynamic cutting stuff, you just can't beat that. But this is more like an RPG. I kind of feel like, I don't know if you ever played what was it called now? Final Fantasy. I can't remember what it was called. It was a PSP game that was remastered and came out on the Xbox One. Final Fantasy something. I can't remember what it's called. That's driving me mad. Someone in chat will know. But there's a Final Fantasy on Xbox. It's like a melee variant Final Fantasy, and I kind of feel like it was going for what NieR's trying to go for. I can't remember what it's called. It's really annoying me. Not Crisis Core. Oh man. Rand, I gotta look this up.
Someone says Type Zero.
Type Zero. Yes. FF. Yeah, Type Zero. Type Zero. Yeah. So Type Zero is more like melee oriented Final Fantasy, and I kind of feel like NieR Automata, Final Fantasy Type Zero was trying to go for that.
Yeah. We agree, right? I think Bayonetta is their best game. I haven't played 2 yet. I do own 2 for the Switch. I will play that because
I've never played Bayonetta.
Bayonetta's
I played it a little bit.
Bayonetta is a masterpiece, in my opinion, of the genre. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance is right underneath it, and I would put NieR right underneath that. Like Bayonetta, I would almost give a 10 to. You know what I mean? Like it's that good. Um, but yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed the combat in this game. I enjoyed most of the things about it. There is some like minor nitpicky stuff, like the game, the textures on the buildings don't look good. So like you're in this, a lot of some of the areas look really good, but then you see some of the buildings, you're like, like maybe you should have bumped up the graphical quality on those. There's not a lot of enemy variety in the machines. Um, some of the side quests are kind of boring, quite frankly. And yeah, typical JRPG stuff. They want you to like, collect all these different things around the world to upgrade your weapons and stuff like that.
It feels like the game, in a way, it was sort of on a budget. Like the world environment details pretty low and stuff like that. But they prioritize the stuff that's important, which is gameplay, story, mood.
Oh yeah,
atmosphere.
the gameplay is top. The gameplay is great. The story is very interesting. Like what's going on between these androids who are there to try to
care about the
It's
story.
such a weird plot. You're playing as androids who are there to try to take the Earth back for the humans who left for the moon from the aliens who came down to attack the humans who used machines to do it. So it's like the plot is pretty weird. But it actually remains interesting throughout, and especially when after you finish your first playthrough and do the second, you're like, holy crap. And then the third begins, you're like, oh my god, like this is a sequel right here. But one of the things I kind of wanted to touch upon was like in my comments section of my review, a lot of people were giving me shit because like, oh, I thought you hated NieR. I thought NieR was Jap crap. Why didn't you play this on the PS4 last year? I thought Xbox gamers hated these type of games, and I sit there and I'm thinking to myself of like, have I ever said like, if you want to like use the comment section to attack what I've said constructively or whatever, or disagree with something I've said, by all means do it. It's what it's there for. But I hate when people generalize me alongside every single Xbox fan. Like, has every single Xbox fan said that NieR Automata was Jap crap? No. How many people did? Maybe 5. And they're not me. So why are you in my comments section? Why are you complaining to me that other Xbox fans said the game was Jap crap? Because I never said it was. And you can go and listen to everything I ever did and everything I've ever said in any podcast, and I've never said that. I've said like Xbox should have the game because you want more games. You don't want less games, right? Yeah. But I hate the generalization, and I hate how Xbox people do that the same to PlayStation fans. I hate that overgeneralization of everything. Like, oh, you didn't like this because it's on Xbox now. Really? Is that? I also own it on the PlayStation. Like, I was going to play it there before it came to Xbox. I don't know. It just kind of gets my blood boiling to a certain degree. I don't know about you, Jez, but like,
I've blocked literally everyone on Twitter, so I never see any of it.
Well, I mean, I have a lot of people muted on Twitter, so I don't see a lot of stuff. But I'm just talking strictly like in my comments. Like, okay, I want to see what people thought of my review, and there are tons of people with great comments about the review. But there's always some fucking knucklehead, some degenerate asshole or whatever who's just like, but Rand, I thought Xbox hate Jap crap. Did I ever say anything about it? Like,
it's concern trolling. It's concern trolling. It's making up a position and then being upset about it. So just ignore it, man. I'm kind of lucky on Windows Central because to comment on Windows Central, you have to actually sign up and make an account, and most people can't be bothered. So I'm shielded.
Like hold me. Man. I don't know. It's like hold me to the stuff I say. Don't put like everything else that everybody else says on me, and then like, oh well, this. I don't know. It bothers me to a certain degree because I don't do that for everybody else.
How's gonna hate, man?
I don't say every PlayStation gamer is a weirdo that uses gay porn to put the heads of Xbox executives and fans. Like I've seen it because it's been done to me, but you don't hear me saying that about every single PlayStation fan. Yeah, so it's like, come on, dude. But I mean, these people obviously have low IQs. They're only really interested in the console war, and they don't play video games. So I guess I shouldn't really be upset about that. But it seemed like the game's doing pretty well, Jez. I don't know if you saw, but like on the Xbox store, Crash was number 1, like everywhere, and then NieR Automata was like number 3.
Yeah, NieR did well. You know, I was surprised actually. I think I might have said back in the day that single player experiences don't sell very well, and that's why Microsoft doesn't prioritize them and stuff like that. But you know, it seems like God of War certainly booked that trend, and it seems like NieR Automata has booked that trend as well. I think NieR Automata had a great sort of launch window as well. Like there wasn't much competition out there, people eager to try something new, and it sort of had the whole floor to itself. Seems like it's been a good launch, man.
Yeah. Hopefully they can start getting these games more aligned into, launching at the same time as the PlayStation version. Although I did think it was interesting that this one only has a digital release. There's no physical. So
yeah,
I wonder.
That is weird. It's a full price digital game.
Well, no, it's not full price. It's $50. Full price would be $60. It does come with all the DLC. Okay. Well, okay, yeah. I'm just wondering because I know Microsoft has a minimum print that they require, before they'll, let a game out of the store for, like sell physical copies, which is why you don't see a lot of indie games get a physical print, but you will see indie games get a physical run on PlayStation. Microsoft probably should lower that requirement, but I don't know. Like I'm fine with the game being digital only. Like I don't really have an issue with it, but I know a lot of other people do. Like, oh, I won't get the game if it's not physical. If I don't get my release or I don't get my physical copy. But when I was playing this game though, Jez, and enjoying it a lot, thinking back on the other platinum games that I have enjoyed, I kind of was like thinking about Scalebound a little bit. And what Scalebound could have been potentially, because I've enjoyed a lot of like the great platinum games, like the A team, what I call, because they have multiple teams there, and clearly some of their games aren't very good, like Transformers, Devastation, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games, some of their like smaller, the Legend of Korra, like their small projects they take on between the big titles, but like their big ones, the Bayonettas, the Metal Gears, this NieR, they're so good that it makes me wonder like how Scalebound could have turned out.
I think the biggest issue with Scalebound was the character, man. The main character for me was so unappealing. I don't know what you thought of him. I thought he was really cheesy.
Yeah, I didn't really like the look of the main character in Scalebound. That's for sure.
If 2B was the main character in Scalebound, I would have been all for that.
Microsoft probably wouldn't have greenlit that in a million years. Like, dude, Microsoft turned down Until Dawn. They turned down Heavy Rain. There was the rumor that they originally turned down Hellblade because of the the mental stuff in that game. So like, I seriously, like, if Microsoft was funding that game, I seriously doubt that they'd have a Japanese waifu as the main character. You know what I mean?
I guess Microsoft is a bit waifu of
they're very tight. They're tightwads, Yeah. But no, it just got me thinking, like, man, Scalebound, like, if it was that A team, you're like, oh man, it could have been something cool, but apparently it never was good. Like, it was never good, which is why they canceled it. And I don't know, but yeah, the main character was kind of, I never really connected with him. Like, he was wearing those stupid headphones. I don't know. I don't really know what else to really say about that, but hey, if you don't own a PlayStation, you have an Xbox, interested about checking out NieR, well, it's available now for $50. Or if you have a PlayStation, I'm sure you can get it pretty cheap there. Either way, if you enjoy platinum games and the type of, hack and slash melee combat that they do offer, if you're a fan of that genre, then I would recommend it. Maybe not at $50 if you're on the fence. I'm sure it'll be on sale at certain points. But hey, if you want to look up a girl's skirt, get put on a leaderboard, and then get exposed here on a podcast by your brother, then it's if you want to get an achievement for that as well, then this is the game for you.
So funny, man.
Yeah, but Beat Games Life Zim, he says, does Xbox have any scantily clad sexualized characters in their first party? That's kind of interesting.
I was actually just thinking that. I was thinking,
I don't think they do.
Not really.
I mean, I don't know. You could say those cars in Forza are damn sexy. You know what I'm saying?
Well, if you're into that,
Yeah,
I guess.
I'm sure some people. Oh, look at that tail!
2018 to
Look at that
2018.
tailpipe and that drive stick. Halo. I mean, Cortana. Cortana is clearly
Oh
sexualized.
yeah, Cortana. I mean, but they covered her up.
Well, yeah, she's a digital thing, but I'm saying like, okay, maybe not in Halo 1 or Halo 2 or Halo 3, but especially in 4 and 5, she definitely became over sexualized.
Not in 5. You mean 3 and 4?
Oh, okay, in 4 then. The one where she was
4,
going crazy.
In 4, she was like, yeah, I'm pretty attracted to that digital hologram. That isn't even real in the game. So it's like a waifu squared in a way, because she's not real in the game or in real life because she's part of a game.
I mean,
I don't know where I'm going with this, but she was hot.
Joanna Dark, I don't really think so. Maybe Orchid and Killer Instinct.
Mario Sanon says in Killer Instinct, some of the outfits in Killer Instinct are a bit borderline, but they're not like Overwatch level. Where did this podcast go? Yeah,
I know. I was just thinking like overly sexualized characters in Microsoft's first party. It's like
they only do
any of their games.
Beards, man.
Yeah. Beards. The only one I can think of is Cortana. I can't really think of any other character off the top. Even in Gears, like the Gears women are like covered up with the armor and stuff. They're not really over sexualized at all. There's Cameo, but I mean, I don't know. She's has her midriff bared, but like, yeah, I'm not really sure that would classify.
Are you into elves?
I'm not into elves.
I don't know.
Oh. So the only one that comes to mind is but then I think about like Sony's. Does Sony really have any over sexualized?
Oh, I know. The Berserker in Gears of War is totally naked.
Yeah, but is it a dude or a chick?
The Berserker's a female.
Oh yeah, that's right. I mean, there's a lot of over sexualized females in video games. Period, like third party stuff. But I'm trying to think of like the first like obviously Nintendo doesn't do anything really over sexualized. Their system is for like 8-year-old kids.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I mean, Zelda. I mean, I can't think of one.
Peach is pretty hot. How about Samus, man? In
Metroid Other M?
No, in Super Metroid on the Super Nintendo, when she died, you could see her in her underwear. And that was when I was a little kid. It was like, oh my god, that's naughty.
That's very naughty. And I'm trying to think, what about Sony's first party? I mean, God of War as chicks you got to bang and get the climax and some of the God of War games, but I was more thinking of like the actual main characters of a franchise rather than like, just like a random thing. And I really can't think. Not many of these companies really even have like main franchises that feature a female. Mostly just males.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, and like gamers often complain that there's too many females in gaming, blah blah blah, or too many like pandering to that sort of idea that there needs to be female characters. But there's still barely any female characters. Still barely any.
Well, at least any that are like the main protagonists.
Yeah, there's a lot of side characters, but very few main characters, which is a shame.
Yeah. Well, since we're speaking about Sony, let's delve right into Fallout 76, shall we? This probably topic won't last very long because I mean we've talked about it repeatedly, but Todd Howard said that Sony's not being helpful with crossplay with Fallout 76, and it's like, is the water wet? Is the sky blue? Like this isn't new information here. Like, look what they just did with Fortnite, and of course they're not. It doesn't really matter how big it is, even if it was Rockstar and it was Grand Theft Auto 6. I'm sure they would say the same thing. Sony's not very, very helpful with crossplay with Grand Theft Auto 6. It's just a policy at this point. You know, they might overturn the policy at some point down the road when they get more analytical data with data points saying, is this really affecting our business? In what way? Is it affecting in a positive or negative way? And if it's affecting in a negative way, they might change some things. Like, I honestly think at some point they might pull back on the cross progression stuff. But I like cross play stuff, I don't think is ever going to happen because Sony is in a position of power. They are the market leader. They know that all these companies, from the indies to the big AAAs, need PlayStation and the PlayStation user base to sell copies and to recoup their business costs of making these games. So even though Todd Howard is a big time developer, even though Bethesda is a huge publisher, even though Fallout 76 is going to be one of the biggest games of the holiday, like, they're not in a position to dictate to Sony what to do. Sony's in a position to tell them no. And Todd Howard and Bethesda are just going to have to eat it. I mean, that's kind of like the way I'm looking at it at this point. Right?
I mean, yeah, it's Sony's not going to budge now. They've sort of dug in. Although they did say, didn't they release a statement saying they're looking into it, or some sort of non-statement, you know. But you know, we've talked about it before. It's not like it's a super smart business decision for them. But the problem is, it's like, you talk about the user base sizes and stuff, but it could become a problem if people start thinking that if I buy into Xbox, that means the data I own is mine, and I can roam to PC, I can roam to Nintendo Switch. If Microsoft and Nintendo sell that, it could start tipping the balance. If you start thinking of Xbox and Nintendo Switch as a combined ecosystem, you know, but it's far-fetched.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking
and apparently
in the future here, like, yeah, we're years from now.
Apparently, Switch sales are stagnating too. They're slowing down.
I mean, I of course, I mean, they're not really releasing any exclusives. You know, like, there's not much reason to buy a Switch right now as there was in the past. So I'm not surprised that the Switch sales have stagnated.
Octopath Traveler looks good though.
Yeah, Octopath Traveler does look pretty well. I'm sure Switch sales will kick up in gear when Smash is about to release.
I was so on the fence. I almost bought a Switch this month.
Almost. You're getting there. You'll get another system at some point in time. But you know,
I got a story about that actually, Rand.
There was an interesting question someone asked me on another podcast I did last week. And I'm going to ask you this. He said to me, if the roles were reversed and Microsoft was winning this generation, they had 80 million consoles, PlayStation 4 had 40 million. Would Microsoft still be doing crossplay? And I said, knowing Phil Spencer, speaking to Phil Spencer quite a bit, and I've actually had this conversation with Phil, he says they would do crossplay no matter what position they were in. What do you think about that, Jez? Do you think Microsoft would still be doing crossplay if they were the leader? Or is this just kind of a thing that, hey, we're in second or third place and we want to do something different? Or is this like a cultural thing at Microsoft, a change in policy?
I don't know, man. I mean, it matches their ethos, right? Their ethos is the intelligent edge. It's this cloud of devices, and they want to get their services onto as many devices as possible, even PlayStation. They've got Minecraft on PlayStation because it's part of the intelligent edge. Like, that's the way they see things. They see devices as a way of putting their cloud services on everything. They don't care what devices they are. They just want to have their cloud platform on everything, even PlayStation, in theory. But the thing about that is, Rand, the only reason they really became this intelligent edge company is because they totally failed in mobile.
Exactly. And so the only reason Phil Spencer's even head of Xbox is because the Xbox failed.
Yeah. So while I totally believe Phil would do that, but Microsoft, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I believe in Phil implicitly. Like, there's no doubt in my mind Phil's telling the truth. But I don't know if Microsoft would have done that. I don't know if Microsoft would have put if Microsoft had a huge mobile install base, and everyone was using Office on their phones and Skype and whatever, and they were first to that ecosystem, do you think they would have put Skype on iPhone? Do you think they would have put Skype on Android? No, I don't think so. So they've only become this sort of, oh, we want to put our stuff on everything because they got no choice. So I believe Phil. I don't believe Microsoft.
Yeah, Microsoft is the wild card here. Like, and I agree with you. Like, a lot of things had to happen. Like, the only reason Phil's in charge is because of how bad the Xbox One did. The only reason Microsoft is even wanting to put all their different things on everyone's devices is because Ballmer's not the CEO and Satya is. So it was like a change from the top down.
Yeah,
And
Satya is cloud-minded. He wants to make money by putting cloud services on everything.
yeah,
And
and
that's smart. It's pushing them to $1 trillion market cap. But it's
well, I mean, it's like what Ravenflow said in the super chat. He says Microsoft's future is combining ecosystems.
yeah, that's the intelligent edge. Like, look it up. If you search for what is the intelligent edge, I think Windows Central comes up. Like, we've got an article on it. That's Microsoft's current mission, is to get their services onto everything. So you're gonna get, I can guarantee you will get Xbox game streaming on Nintendo Switch eventually, if Nintendo allows it. You probably even get it on PlayStation if Sony allows it.
Nah, Sony would never allow it.
I know, but Microsoft would put it there if they.
I mean, potentially. I mean, yeah. I mean, well, here's the thing. It makes sense to put it on Switch because Switch is like a mobile solution, right? It doesn't really make sense to put it on PlayStation because it's just like the Xbox. The only reason you would want it on PlayStation is to access all the people on PlayStation who don't own an Xbox. And at that point, Sony would be looking at like, we're not letting you access our customers that we have spent 2 decades, 3 decades trying to cultivate. Screw off. Which is almost exactly what like they're doing now with crossplay. Like, hey, like Sony's looking at like, we built up this user base by blood, sweat, and tears by building these games and doing whatever and doing all the right moves this gen. We're not going to let you come in at the last second towards the end and be like, we want to do crossplay now, because it's the antithesis of what Sony's like whole strategy is. Like, they spent all that time and money building up a user base, and here's like Nintendo and Microsoft wanting to kind of cut in on that a little bit. Like, I don't blame Sony for not. Like, look,
it's a good strategy for Xbox and Nintendo. It's a really good one.
Like, as a consumer, the crossplay stuff sucks, right? Cross progression is really unforgivable. But from a business, like when I look at it from the business perspective, I can't fault Sony for doing it. Like, any companies can run a business how they see fit. And Sony feels that this is the best way for them. And who are you to argue with what they do with their business? You know what I mean? It does suck from the consumer standpoint because it really doesn't benefit the consumer in any way. But I mean, what are you going to do? And you're going to hear more stories. I'm sure Sony wants this story to go away as fast as possible. Like, sweep it underneath the rug. We know, maybe like they were loving it when the talk was all about God of War and how, oh my God, you need to get a PlayStation to play these amazing single player exclusives. They were probably salivating at the mouth about all that positive press that they were getting about doing games like that. And then E3 happened and the Fortnite stuff. And now it's just now you actually see IGN and all these companies writing these articles about their antiquated online strategy. And then you get Todd Howard coming out, all these different things. And the only way this story even kind of stays in the limelight is more developers speak out about it. But I can guarantee you that Sony wants this to go away. They want Spider-Man to get here. So the conversation isn't Sony is arrogant. The conversation is Sony's the only one who can make games like this. Microsoft can't and Nintendo can't, That's kind of the way I've been looking at it.
I mean, it's bad PR, and it's bad PR with the core, especially like I noticed that it's often not PlayStation owners who complain about it. Again, it's concern trolling. I noticed a lot of the PC master race guys jump on it because like anything quote unquote anti-consumer is like something to hate on and stuff like that. I like crossplay because like I've got siblings who I play on PlayStation. I'd like to be able to play with them, but at the same time, you're just blissfully aware. It doesn't make business sense for Sony.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it a little bit. I don't really, there's really nothing else really to say about it until
it's not going to go away. Basically, there's going to be more devs who come out and moan about it. I'm sure devs want it because they want all their eggs in one basket. They want like the biggest user bases possible, so they've got the shortest queuing times, and they can keep everyone updated at the same time, and it's just easier for them for anything.
Yeah.
It lowers it helps their margins. So that's why they're sort of pushing at it, and I wouldn't be surprised if other devs start pushing for it as well. But at the same time, it's kind of like, man, it just doesn't make sense for Sony.
They would need like all the devs coming out about it. They would need like Activision, Square Enix, Ubisoft. It would have to be a concerted effort by almost everybody to kind of like get to the point where the pressure and the PR stuff is too much. And maybe the data of like, now we're selling less PlayStations because of it. Now we're losing PS Plus subscriptions because of it. It would have to very negatively affect their business and their bottom line before, they would do anything differently. But yeah, I kind of agree with what I just said is kind of what OBJ, shout out to OBJ the dude, he says nothing will change unless the big boys, COD, Rockstar, Ubisoft put press on them. And that's exactly right. Like the whole industry would have to, like at the same time, put this immense pressure on PlayStation to allow it. And you know what? Next generation's a new thing. Maybe they decide they're going to do it. Who really knows? But I'm sure this story is never going to end because somebody down the line is going to fucking come out and say, Sony's not letting us do it and we really want to. And it's just going to be like, oh, and you'll hear the think pieces be like, Sony, why aren't you doing this? This isn't for the gamer, right? And like all this stuff. And then it'll die down and then somebody else will come like, oh God, we really want to do crossplay, but they just won't let us. It's like, oh, well, what are you going to do? Like they're in the position of power and you're not, unfortunately. But yeah, shout out to Ravenflow for the super chat. It says read up on Joachim Keppen and Microsoft versus Sony. I don't really know what that is, but I'll check it out. But yeah, so moving on from Sony and Fallout 76, you want to talk about Sunset Overdrive 2 and Bloodborne 2? If like there's any truth to this stuff, Jez, I'm gonna ask you because you have the leaks. So Amazon Italy, they were trying their best to be Walmart Canada, and they put up pre-order pages for Splinter Cell. Like they did do this on purpose to screw me, right? The one game I wanted from E3, the one game that was in the Walmart Canada list that I truly like desired, it was the one game that didn't show up at E3. And now here's Amazon Italy with the listing for Splinter Cell, a pre-order page. They did the same thing for Bloodborne 2 and then Sunset Overdrive 2. Of course, this got people really excited because one of the games that hasn't got a sequel yet from Xbox this generation is Sunset Overdrive. And people want a sequel for Sunset Overdrive. Like, I would love a sequel to Sunset Overdrive. It was a great game. But, Insomniac said time and time again, they would love to do it, but they aren't making it. There's no current plans. They'll do it with or without Microsoft. Like kind of like putting down like, like, hey, Microsoft, you better do something here. But then this came out. They responded by saying they wouldn't believe it because Amazon Italy is no Walmart Canada. Not an outright denial, kind of more being playful with it. But could this potentially be true in the scenario like, okay, Spider-Man's wrapping up production. Game comes out in 3 months, right? 2 months actually. Exactly 2 months. I think it comes out the 7th, which would be 2 months from now. God, I can't wait. September. 2 months away until Spider-Man. So amazing.
Meh.
And Microsoft is clearly spending money on first party, securing exclusives, all this stuff, getting ready for next gen. Is it possible that Microsoft and Insomniac were like, listen, we want to do Sunset Overdrive 2. We know you need another game to do after Spider-Man, so here's some money, work on that? Or do you think this is just a case of like a retail listing being wrong and just fake news? Because I know what you're going to say. You're going to tell me, Rand, I heard from little birdies that Sunset Overdrive is not dead.
I was told that Sunset Overdrive wasn't dead, quote unquote, months ago, actually. Um, so maybe I want to believe, man. I want to believe, and I put a Twitter poll up on my Twitter feed, like what sequels would you want the most? And I put Alan Wake 2, Ryse 2, Sunset Overdrive 2, and Quantum Break 2. And Sunset Overdrive just slightly beat Alan Wake. So like I kind of feel like Microsoft probably sees that game is supported by fans. Maybe they've got like a better sort of model for it now with Game Pass and stuff like that. And look how well State of Decay 2 is done under Game Pass. I reckon Sunset Overdrive would have done much better as a Game Pass title, especially with
I
the
reckon a lot of
stuff.
those games. I reckon Ryse and Recore and like Quantum Break. Like you probably
Quantum Break would have been ideal because it's got the whole streaming movie stuff.
Yeah,
they could have done it. They could have done it episodically, even.
But what is the likelihood of this happening though? Because to me, if I'm thinking about like, yeah, they do have smaller teams that do VR stuff outside of their main like workforce that's working on Spider-Man. See, to me, like I think obviously they're independent, so they're always looking for their next job. And I think both Insomniac and Sony probably know that Spider-Man is going to sell millions of copies. And it's going to be great, and it's going to sell huge, right? I wouldn't be surprised if Sony already signed them on to do the sequel for next generation. Like, they want Spider-Man 2 for the PlayStation 5. And considering how well that game's going to do, they probably offered a better deal than Microsoft. It's like, part of me is like, this is like, while I want it to be true, I just don't think it is, just based off the fact like they can only work on one big game at a time. And I think that game is Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. Sorry. It's getting sleepy now. It's 11 o'clock. Maybe you're right, man. I want to believe it, but as and on all the stuff that happened recently with Microsoft spending money and stuff, it's sort of easy to get into that sort of hopeful sort of mindset, but there's not enough evidence yet for it, really. All I was told was that Sunset Overdrive isn't dead as an IP, and like that could mean literally anything, I've still got my can of Overcharge XT from how many years ago? 3 years ago? It's probably like
4 years ago because it came out in 2014.
Do you think that's okay to drink after 4 years?
I don't know about that. It probably wasn't okay to drink when they originally made it.
Dude, so I drank so much, man. I drank so much of that stuff at Gamescom. They like had 2 huge freezers of this Overcharge energy drink. So much sugar, man. So much sugar. It's probably the nicest energy drink ever. And I've got 1 can of it left.
Are you into memes, Jez?
Memes?
Like memes, yeah.
Dude, I start and end my day with memes.
Have you seen this meme going around about how everybody is influenced by Ryse lately?
I haven't seen that meme.
I don't know. Maybe it's because you block everybody who does it, but like I've seen so many people be like, and it's based off of like a couple people's tweets. Like originally, it kind of started with God of War, like, oh, God of War is just Ryse. It's influenced by Ryse, and then I see like some other game. I forget what it was recently. But there's like, oh, this game was influenced by Ryse, right? And it's like everything's influenced by Ryse, and then I see people kind of like memeing it on Twitter, and I'm just like, I never really got it because even the Ryse God of War comparison, it's like if anybody's played both games, they know that Ryse is nothing like God of War outside of like the camera angle, right? It's so weird to me, like that. Like I see this Ryse stuff. Like I don't know if you've seen it. Obviously you.
I haven't seen it. No.
This podcast was inspired by Ryse. That's right, Alex. We got together and was like, when me and Jez originally talking about this podcast, he's like, "You want to do a podcast where we talk about our love for Ryse?" Like, yeah.
The best thing about Ryse is the graphics. I mean,
yes,
I quite like. I like the setting and plot as well. It's not often.
No, like I like the setting. I like the plot. I like the graphics. It was kind of the gameplay that was just
Yeah,
wasn't very good. And that's the one game, like if
I
you
like the blood and guts, but the combat was sluggish. It was supposed to be a Connect game though, wasn't it?
yes, it originally was a Connect game, and there were some Connect things in there. But if there was one game that came out this gen that I thought could have gotten a sequel and the game could have been so much better than the original, it's Ryse. Because
Yeah.
there's something there. Like all that really needed to be improved was the combat, because the combat was just like you hit them once or twice and then you use like yellow, it's just like it's just like a QTE event. Like if they could have just made the combat better, like they could have had a serious franchise. Unfortunately, they didn't. But that's like if I had to pick my game of like, oh, which game Microsoft do you want to see a sequel to? And it's Alan Wake 2, even though Microsoft doesn't own that IP. But I would love to see Alan Wake 2. But Ryse 2 would be something like no Connect focused, strictly for this platform, because originally it was a 360 game. All you really needed to do was improve the combat, and you have a franchise. I don't know. That's kind of, I don't know. I just wanted to ask you because it was just like everything's inspired by Ryse these days. It's kind of hysterical to me, at least.
Yeah, I guess so. It's just like, I don't know, reaching. I don't know why people can't just accept that God of War is a good game,
Well, it's not even really. It was. I forget what other game I saw recently where it was compared screenshot to screenshot. It was like this game was clearly inspired by Ryse, and I just sat there and looked at it. I'm like, no, it's not. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't think anything's inspired by Ryse. It's a game that didn't sell, and it was a game that was like critically maligned. It was like it's like a 60 on Metacritic, which is surprising when I went to look at the Metacritic of the game, because I thought the game was at least a 70 something, but no, it was like 60. Like, I was like, man, this game got. Oh yeah, it was Ghost of Tsushima. That's right. People were talking about how Ghost of Tsushima was clearly influenced by Ryse, and I just
What?
yeah. That's
What?
yeah, Ghost of Tsushima clearly influenced by Ryse.
That's ridiculous.
It is
That
totally
game looks
ridiculous.
awesome, by the way.
Ghost of Tsushima, yeah, it looks phenomenal. It's my game of E3. Like, that was the game I was like, it just kind of took me, like, when I first saw that gameplay, I was like, oh man. But did you see what actually was game of the show at for the game critics or whatever at E3 this past year?
Resident Evil 2.
Resident Evil 2, right? Like, really? I mean, look, I'm excited.
Are you serious? It was. It
was. Yeah, it was game of the show.
Yeah, good. It was better than everything else.
Well, no, but come on, it's a remake of a game.
It's not. I don't care if it's a remake. It's
yes.
like,
no.
Have you seen the original?
Sorry.
Have you seen the original? It's like 360.
Doesn't matter. It's a remake of the original.
It's not a remake.
No,
it's not a remake. It's like, it's beyond a remake. They've had to rebuild everything. It's a new game.
Doesn't matter. It's fine if they could rebuild everything. They have all the structure there. They're literally copying a game that already existed.
The structure is different. The structure is different.
Look,
I analyzed those trailers, man. Everything is in different places. There's new puzzles, there's new areas. Everything is different. There's lots of nostalgia in there,
Look, I'm not hating on it because it's one of my most. I'm not hating. Look, I will be there day one. It's one of my most anticipated games. Coming of next year. I can't wait. But the fact that it won game of the show,
yeah, it was.
Like, you know what won best console game, by the way?
What?
You would think Resident Evil. If Resident Evil's game of the show, you would think it would also be best console game, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't. Spider-Man was best console game.
Spider-Man.
Which I don't know, man. Like, if you're
money hat, man, money hat.
Well, okay, I understand they probably want to give away, like they want to like make sure the winners go to. But like, to me, if it's like, if you're saying the game of the show,
that's the problem with these awards, man. It's like you don't want to say the same thing twice,
right? But like, if Spider-Man's if Resident Evil's game of the show, then it has to be best console game, because it's also a console game, and you already said it's the best. So like, how could Spider-Man be the best console game when, you know what I'm like? It's like,
doesn't it not just disqualify it?
I don't know. Like, it's like when they do the Game Awards, it's like, like, legend. Like, I know this happened, but like, whatever game wins the Game Awards Game of the Year, well, then it has to win the category it's in. Because it's Game of the Year, so if it's the best game that came out, then it's clearly also the best game that was in its category. You know what I mean? But yeah, Spider-Man one console game. Ori and the Will of the Wisps won best independent game.
I just wish it wasn't the modern Spider-Man, because it's lame and childish. Why can't it be like the 90s cartoon Spider-Man? That'd be way cooler.
I don't know.
I went off topic there.
Gaming Forte says Resident Evil's also on PC and Spider-Man isn't. I know that, but I'm just saying when you're saying like, so the best but Resident Evil's also a console game. Like it doesn't matter that it's also on. I don't know. Like when I look at it as like game of the show, Resident Evil, well, it should also be best console game because it is a console game. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like I see what they're doing. They want to give more awards out to everybody, but like, I don't know. Ori 2 won a best indie game, which, do you really even consider Ori an indie game? It's published by Microsoft.
I saw that. I was like, that is not really an indie game.
Right?
It's like, if that's an indie game, then so Cyberpunk.
Exactly. Cyberpunk, exactly, 100%. But I think that wasn't playable. I think these games had to be playable. Here, I'm gonna find the listings. But go on. But why Cyberpunk should have won that? Because they're independent, right? They're an indie title.
Well, I mean, people look at Ori and they see 2D and they automatically think, oh, that's a low budget indie. But the artwork that goes into that game is expensive, and that Microsoft paid for a full orchestra to do the music. I'm sorry, but indie games, quote unquote, don't get to do that. I think giving Ori, as awesome as Ori is, I don't think it's fair that Ori should win that, because they're playing with a budget that most indies can't even dream of.
Right. True. So okay, here's the winners, right? So best of show, Resident Evil 2, best original game, Dreams for the PlayStation 4, best console, Marvel Spider-Man, best VR game, Tetris Effect, best PC game, Anthem. So see, that's another thing. Best of show, Resident Evil 2. It's for PC, PS4, and Xbox. It should be the best console game, and it should be the best PC game. But Anthem is the best PC game. Best hardware peripheral is the Xbox Adaptive Controller. Best action game is Anthem. Best action adventure game is Spider-Man. Best RPG is Kingdom Hearts 3. Best fighting game is Smash Brothers. Best racing game is Forza Horizon 4. Best sports game is FIFA 19. Best strategy game is Total War. Best family game is Overcooked 2. Best online multiplayer is Battlefield 5. Best ongoing game is Fortnite. And best independent game is Ori and the Will of the Wisps. It's like
I don't see that as an indie. They've got too big a budget to be considered indie.
I mean, they are an independent studio. Microsoft doesn't own them. But yeah, like I don't know. Like I saw that. I'm like, is it really indie when you have the backing of Microsoft? I don't really know.
The thing is, it's like to be considered indie under ID Xbox, your game has to be below a certain budget, and I don't think Ori and the Blind Forest would be below that budget. Like Rebellion barely scrapes into ID Xbox with their revenue. Like Sniper Elite 4 was technically released on the ID Xbox, but I think like Rebellion is like the as high as it goes. I wouldn't be surprised if Rebellion doesn't count for ID Xbox anymore once the contract runs out or whatever, because they're like pushing, they're pushing AAA now. Rebellion are. So I don't know, man. I trying to think, what were there nominations?
Yeah, I already closed out the pay. Hold on, the nominations, like for who Ori went up against. Nominees. So Ori was up against. Yeah, let's see. Ori was up against Outer Wilds, Overcooked 2, Sable, and Tunic. That was who was Ori was up against. Best console game. Best console game. See, this is screwed up. So, best of show is for Anthem, Spider-Man, Resident Evil 2, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, and Best Smash Brothers, right? But best console game is Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Dreams, Spider-Man, Resident Evil. Like, I don't know. Some of these just they don't cross over very. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I wanted to bring it up because they kind of just released it, and I just didn't really like see how your game of the show is not also your console winner, you know. But either way, moving on from E3 and who won what, because people were saying, well, obviously PlayStation won E3 because they won the majority of the awards, and they have the best, you know, they have the best console game. And Mad Jack says, "Yo, Rand, Ori and the Blind Forest is just a Ryse clone. Everything is a Ryse clone. Didn't you know? Anything and everything is a Ryse clone." So Jez, Xbox Scarlett, the next gen Xbox. Is it possible it's next year?
I want to say no, frankly.
You want to say no. So,
no.
I'll give you the background information first and we can talk about it. So, Infinity Ward, the makers of Call of Duty, they're on docket for next year's Call of Duty, which would be Modern Warfare 4, presumably if the rumors hold. They're up next year. And they are hiring for a narrative scripter, obviously returning the single player campaign to Call of Duty. And the thing is interesting is right in the job description, it says that they are hiring for an unannounced title for next generation platforms, right? Which is kind of weird, you know? So, because none of the next generation platforms are announced yet, even though Microsoft did talk about the Xbox at the end of their conference. Bink Video, which is one of the middleware for a lot of games, uses, they also included a new NDA'd console, a new NDA'd and next gen platform into their history or whatever. So now you have a couple like outlets already talking about next gen. We know next gen's coming. Cyberpunk 2077 is for next gen. They already said it. Same thing with Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6. But here you have a game actually hiring specifically for next generation, and it made me think: is next gen coming next year? Because I've been on the line of thinking that next generation is 2020 because it makes a lot of sense to me, right? But now with all this other information, I'm starting to think that maybe one of the consoles is next year. And I wanted to, get your thoughts on it. Like, do you think the next Xbox could be next year, or do you think it's more than likely possibly the PlayStation 5?
I would say PlayStation 5. I mean, PlayStation 5 are behind now in terms of the power argument and stuff like that. It's going to be weird, right? Because imagine Sony announces blah 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 PlayStation 5 coming this year. Here's the price and stuff like that. And what if Microsoft does another Scorpio and says, by the way, here's Scorpio. It's Scorpio 2. It's coming in 2 years. It's going to be this much more powerful than the PS5. It's weird, man.
All right. Well, how do you feel that some people say, like Miggy and a few other people have said this? They said that this isn't for Call of Duty 2019 because it's already been in development for 2 years. That this story, narrative, art style stuff is obviously for their 2022 game.
Well, that makes more sense.
Now, I've seen people talk about that, but in my opinion, there's no way. From what I understand, there's no way they're hiring for like their next title after the one that's due next year. I would like you can look at like what's going on like with Gears 5. They're doing like motion capture and the story stuff right now, and they're probably doing similar stuff for the next Call of Duty as well. So I don't know. I mean, I guess it's possible that they're hiring for 2022 because it'd be so next year is 2019 and then 2020 2021. Yeah, so it'd be 2022, and of course by that point in time, yes, next generation platforms will most likely be out already. But I don't know. I have a strong suspicion that they're hiring for next year's game and not the game 3 years 4 years from now. I don't know, like to me, I don't know, maybe PlayStation is ready. maybe they can get all of their games next year. Last of Us, Days Gone, Ghost of Tsushima, and then just release the PlayStation 5. And then that next year, they can be like, here's a trailer for Horizon Zero Dawn 2, here's a trailer for Bloodborne 2, here's these other games that are coming around the launch time of the next PlayStation. And then if they get a year out before Xbox, they can have their 1 year on the market saying that they're the new hardware before PlayStation, before Xbox like joins the fight or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. It's we're at this point now where next gen's inevitable, and it's just a point of what year is it. And I think Sony's closer to it than Microsoft is. I don't know. I think honestly, if say it was Xbox, next year's too early in my opinion for another Xbox. I don't know if you feel that same way, but I kind of feel like next year's way too early for a next gen Xbox. I would be more happy if it was 2020. Because I don't know that like the X just came out, what, 7 months ago? 8 months ago?
It's weird because I know Xbox releases aligned with Windows Redstone versions. Although it won't be Redstone then, they're switching to a different model. So Redstone 5 just released to the Xbox skip ahead ring. Redstone 5 is due to launch in October because it's got 1810 as a code name, 10th month 2018. So they're preparing the Xbox for a big update. So like, and then they're on a bi-annual model for Redstone updates at the minute, and they'll be moving to like, I think they're going to move to an annual model. So like, could it be Redstone 6 or 7 for Scarlett? It's weird. It's a weird one, man. Sometimes you can predict what Microsoft is going to do based on the Redstone stuff, because like the Xbox Redstone update has to align with the Windows update because they use the same APIs now. So there is that. There is some interesting stuff in Redstone 5 for Xbox that I'm going through at the minute, but don't have anything yet. It's just hard to say, man. I don't know what Microsoft's going to do. It's like, just to answer Frommy Funny's question quickly, Redstone is the code name for Windows and Xbox updates. So like they have these big milestone updates, and they call them Redstone after Minecraft. So like Redstone 4 was released in April, and Redstone 5 will be released in October. That's the next big milestone update for Xbox. So, yep. Just went off on a bit of a tangent there, but I honestly don't know, man. I don't know what Microsoft's going to do for Scarlett. I don't know what they're going to do. Like, is it just going to be another box that's more powerful? Are they going to try and do something unique and innovative? Is it going to have some kind of mobile play? You know, what is it going to be? I think Phil Spencer will be like looking to really put his mark on it. I think he'll be looking to do something different, but not in the way that alienates the core, because they don't want to rock the boat again like they did in 2013. But they can't not innovate, because they're going to start having competition from other people, like Google, Amazon. Oh man, we're being accused. Our podcast is just a Ryse clone.
I know. I mean, everything's a Ryse clone at this point in time. I mean, Ravenflow in Super Chat says Microsoft will need third-party help if next gen comes soon. I mean, I don't think Microsoft's lacking in third-party support. I think they're lacking in Japanese third-party support. I think they have the support of all the major publishers and developers, like clearly. And part of that was like shown off at this year's E3, where they had all the big titles out there, like third parties showing their support for Xbox. And who knows, maybe the third parties want new systems too. I don't know. Like, you never really know what's going on behind the scenes. Maybe Activision and EA are like chomping at the bit to start next generation. Maybe they aren't. Maybe they want this one to go on forever. I don't really know. But I mean, it's interesting that the thing is like, you're interesting that you already have job listings for it. and you have like middleware already NDAing a new console that was added to it. You know what I'm saying? Like it seems like we're at that point now. Where like any minute, you know how it was last year, or maybe like where all of a sudden like the Xbox Scorpio stuff leaked and it was like a known thing. Like, oh, by the way, Microsoft's doing a new mid-gen refresh. The same way with the PlayStation Neo, where it was like one day everybody just like leaked these documents and everybody knew it existed. I think we're coming to that point now where like pretty soon somebody's gonna be like, here's all the documents for the PlayStation 5 and what it is and what it's gonna do. And the same thing will happen for the next Xbox. These are the you know what I'm saying, Jez? Like it almost feels like we're on the cusp of that happening.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I've seen all the GDC talk, well, the X-Fest talks from GDC. I've seen all of them, and nothing there was talking about next gen Xbox. It was all stuff like to do with mods, support, update to clubs and stuff like that, avatars, and all the stuff they've been working on for this year. When I leaked Scorpio that year, that was because they told devs at GDC all about it, and then people told me. So there's nothing in there for this year. So to be honest, we'll probably know for sure GDC next year what the plan is, because those talks will leak. They always leak. So we just have to wait and see, man.
It could even happen before then. When's GDC? Well, that's usually March-ish, right? February. Well, if PlayStation's planning on doing a console next year, they normally do that PlayStation event in New York City around February, where they announce the console, they show it off, and then E3 is all about the console with it launching. That's what they did with the PlayStation 4, you know? So it's possible, like, even before GDC, you already, like, have, okay, well, here's the PlayStation. I don't know. It's going to be pretty interesting. Like, I do kind of feel like one day I'll wake up and it was like, here's the documents for the next Xbox. And here's how many T-flops it's got. Here's the piece, the CPU it's using and all this other stuff. Like, I honestly feel like one of these days I'll wake up and then it'll be like every single YouTuber in existence is doing a video about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. So that's that. I don't know. I think me and Jez, well, I don't want to speak for Jez, but I think it's a possibility PlayStation will be next year, and I think Xbox is 2020. I don't know what you feel, but I think you kind of feel similar, possibly, or they're both 2020.
I honestly don't want to know. I don't want to speculate, rather. I just don't know. I don't have any real information or rumors to go on.
Right.
I want to say 2020 as well, I think.
All right. So, before we get into this little debate, because I want to see Jez really, I want to see Jez really shill for Sony, and I want you to shill for Sony, Jez. I want you to imagine that you're writing for freaking PlayStation Central, right? And that you're getting a cut of all these PlayStation stuff that you sell. So it's in your best interest to sell the PlayStation. So if you want to hear Jez, do that stuff, hit that like button. We got like 370 people watching and only 122 likes. So make sure you smash that like button. That's my one kind of obligatory hit the like button for the podcast until the end of the show. But I wanted to see how Jez, because this idea was presented to me by a couple of my friends, like to do some sort of debate one-on-one. And I thought we'll go, a little bit low key this time. And I want to see, Jez, how you would answer somebody that came to you and said, I'm thinking about getting a PlayStation or an Xbox. I have $200 to spend. So obviously it's only the Slim and it's only the Xbox One S. I don't really, that the person's looking to buy a new console. Doesn't really have any friends that play on anything, so he's open to playing on whatever. So I want you to speak about why this person, or how you would sell this person on a PlayStation, and I'll actually then go and say why that person should buy an Xbox. So Jez, please regale me with your pitch about why this young person should buy into the PlayStation ecosystem.
I can't do it. You can do it.
Come on.
Right. So PlayStation ecosystem. So the thing is, Randy, you said that he has no friends. So that straight away, that is a great selling point, because you won't need the superior download speeds of Xbox Live because you've got no friends. So you don't have to worry about lag and that sort of thing. So you can just buy a PlayStation. You know, is it a PlayStation's cheaper? Because that's that, dude. I don't really know that much about PlayStation. I'm realizing right now. Is a PlayStation actually cheaper than the Xbox One S?
They're the Slim and the S are basically the same price.
Okay, so if you are, so we're not talking about X or Pro, right?
Well, because the reason I said he doesn't, the X or Pro, that's not entered in the equation. This is just a young person with, the money to buy a Slim or an Xbox, but he doesn't have any friends on really either, because that would sway him. Like if he had friends on Xbox, clearly he'd already be thinking about Xbox. It's just a person that's just like, I've heard about some games or some games that I'm interested in. What console should I buy? Like you're imagining you're, the person at GameStop and comes in and be like, all right, what's here? What games are good? What kind of features does it have? I mean, I could shill for PlayStation. I could shill for Xbox. But
Xbox One S is cheaper in the UK.
Well, it may be cheaper in the UK, but I'm pretty sure they're the same price here in the States. Either way.
It's significantly cheaper. I don't know if there's a sale going on or something.
There might be. There might be.
The 1 terabyte PlayStation 4 base model is £315. The 1 terabyte Xbox One S is just £200.
I mean,
that's crazy. That's a huge difference.
PlayStation. Let's see. How much is the PlayStation here? Can you even get PlayStation on?
Dude, this is nuts. I don't know. Is it on sale or something? Is that with a game? I'm going back and check if that's with a game, because that just seems weird, man. I'm trying to cheat, guys. I'm trying to research and figure out how I can do this.
Weird.
No, like, dude, that's console only. The PS4 is £100 more expensive than the Xbox One S in the UK.
And the PlayStation
on Amazon.
I don't know. I'm looking on Amazon and I don't really see did they stop selling like new PlayStations on Amazon? Because everything I see here is discontinued. I know they were having issues like selling games and stuff, but like everything I see here on Amazon everything is discontinued.
Oh my. Actually, yeah, that on Amazon, it's not being sold by Amazon. It's being sold by TurboTrans at a market.
I don't know. I don't know what chat sees if they're looking at Amazon, but I can't see anything. Lee Green says they're both $300 on Best Buy.
Okay, well let's just go with that. Okay, so one of the main reasons you should consider buying a PlayStation 4 over the Xbox One S is that the PlayStation 4 is more powerful than the S. Your games are going to look slightly sharper. They're going to run slightly better a lot of the time. And you will get the most out of that glistening 1080p TV than you would on the Xbox One S. Additionally, the PlayStation 4 is black. Nobody wants a white console. That's just stupid. Who wants a white console when every other device in your media center, Rand, is black? The idea of a white console makes no sense, and it's probably why the Dreamcast failed. So PS4 black, totally great purchases there. Additionally, you'll want to get a PS4 because it has a cool light in the controller. Now, the Xbox One controller only has a stupid little light in the top of the controller. However, the PS4 controller has this large blue bar on the back, which you can use to scare away a predator if they attack you in your home. So that's another reason. Survivalism. The PS4 is a better device for surviving a bear attack than the Xbox One S. Additionally, I know. The The PS4, if you buy movies on the PS4, they support Movies Anywhere, which means you can play them on any service, on any device. However, if you buy movies on Xbox, they are locked to Xbox, Windows 10, and Windows Phone. Who owns a Windows Phone? What a silly idea.
Certainly not this kid that's asking you for advice, right?
Yes, indeed. If you buy a movie on your PlayStation, you can watch it on your Android or iPhone using this Movies Anywhere app. However, can't do that on Xbox. You'll have to buy this Lumia phone, which is bad, really bad. Okay, and also God of War. God of War is a really good game. I heard all about it on the internet. The guy's got a beard. He says boy. And look at his beard. Xbox has no characters with a beard as good as this beard. Rand. I mean, even Marcus Phoenix's beard is nowhere near as good as Kratos' beard. It's just a fact, you know? And sure, you can get Geralt of Rivia's beard on both systems. But Kratos still has a better beard.
So those are your selling points. Now, keep in mind, your job depends on this.
My job depends on this.
If this kid doesn't buy the system, you're fired.
Oh my god. Oh, I know. Here's another one. If you buy Kinect, if you buy Xbox One, Kinect will spy on you masturbating. So you have to buy a PlayStation because it has no camera and no DRM. And if you buy an Xbox One, you will no longer have any privacy and you'll get killed by the NSA. So buy PlayStation. Your data is safe on PSN. PSN has never had any major security breaches, ever.
Man, I don't think they sell very many PlayStations at your store. And people, I thought you were going to try to at least do this in a non-trolling manner, because people are just going to say that you just hate PlayStation.
I can't think of any good reason.
I mean, okay,
the good reasons are honestly Movies Anywhere, which Xbox doesn't have, and personally, that I care about that. So that's a selling point for me. Second of all, games. There are better exclusives on PlayStation overall.
Yeah, you could easily better exclusives and probably more variety. So
list all the exclusives. Blah 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 blah. Japanese games. There's more Japanese games on PlayStation 4. If you're into that sort of thing, more waifus. Way more waifus on PS4. If you're into that sort of thing. Oh God, I'm struggling, man.
I can tell. You don't know much about the PlayStation. How about the fact that free-to-play games are truly free? You don't need PSN Plus to play them. That would be.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess I should have been the one shilling for Sony, and you should have been the one shilling for Xbox, huh?
Maybe.
I guess because at least I would have at least tried to at least take it somewhat semi-serious.
I do take it seriously.
Well, I mean, it was funny. But I don't know. You hear people in the chat saying that Jez lives in an Xbox bubble. Why are you asking him?
It's true. I do live in an Xbox bubble. It's my goddamn job. But it's the things like the free to play games. I wouldn't have thought that because I don't play free to play games. Rand. I guess, but you said this kid wasn't into multiplayer games. You said he had no friends.
But that doesn't mean he won't ever play multiplayer.
Okay, so Fortnite being free is a selling point.
I mean,
that's true. It's a selling point.
So Solar Waves Xfinity says you knew this would happen, Rand, so you could look smart by knowing the better PS4 selling points. I did not know this would happen.
He knew, guys. He knew this would happen. He set me up. He set me up, guys.
I did not set.
How could you do this, Rand?
I did not set up. We talked about this before we even did the show. It wasn't like
this is fake news. You're lying. I didn't even know this segment was coming.
Yeah,
I had no prep time.
You said you wanted to do it because it sounded cool, and you wanted to incorporate it in the show. All right, fine. You know what? I'll shill for PlayStation.
Go on then. Shill for PlayStation.
You can shill for Xbox since you know more about X. All right. So in this scenario, the kid comes in. I'd be like, listen, PlayStation is the best place to play all the games. Not only is the PlayStation 4 superior in every way to the Xbox One S, it has more games, it has better games, and it's got a better variety of games. You want to play your game in 720p? No, you don't. Who does? Then don't get an Xbox One S. The PlayStation 4
You're
puts
just making things up.
the PlayStation 4 outputs games at glorious 900p to 1080p, right? You want to play great
How many
single
games are
player?
720p on Xbox?
You want to play great single player experiences? I know you do. Well, we have God of War, we have Bloodborne, we have the
Xbox about
the Uncharted's. We have
I
so
talked
many
about the beard.
exclusives that are only on PlayStation for you to experience. We just have more games than Xbox. And of course, you want more, not less, right? So PlayStation is the better choice. And as far as online, if you want to get out there and test out some things, we have a service that is truly free. If you want to try out Fortnite or the new H1Z1, you can get online and you can play those games without a subscription. Now, if you do want to spend some money, we have PlayStation Plus, where you subscribe and you can play multiplayer, but you also get free games every single month. And what do you know? Instead of indie trash that Xbox gives you, us at PlayStation will give you AAA games like Until Dawn and Bloodborne every single month. So it's a better value for your money. So, all in all, PlayStation is just the better place to play all your games. It's the better place to play your multiplass because they're run at a better resolution and a better frame rate. The PlayStation has more variety. It has more games of what you love, from the indies all the way to the big AAAs, all the way to the Japanese support. There's something for you on PlayStation.
Oh my God,
Going forward-
Randy's gunning for a job on Sony's PR team.
And going forward, the PlayStation will have the single player experiences that are a dying breed in this industry, which is why you need to spend that $300 and pick up a PS4 Slim. Thank you very much. I'll be here all week.
You had a script written.
No, I didn't have a script read. I just know what the selling points of a PlayStation are.
Right, I'm gonna destroy you now.
Are you destroying me? Why
you.
do I need to get an Xbox?
Okay, you need to get an Xbox because it's white and you know all the other devices in your media center are black. But don't you want a white console because it's a bit different and a bit cool and it won't show up dust as much. It won't show up dust as much as your PlayStation. If you buy a PlayStation, it'll be covered in dust because it's matte and it's I don't know. I don't know, man.
You don't even know what you would sell, like how you would sell an Xbox. the thing that you know all about, and you couldn't pitch it to somebody.
Controllers. The Xbox One has more controller variety. You can buy controllers in all sorts of colors. You can buy them in red and gold, and you can even customize them and get your little gamer tag on it.
All right, how about I'll sell the Xbox? You want to know how I would sell the Xbox, Jazz? It's easy, okay?
Oh, go on then.
I mean, come on, Jazz. I mean, like, just try one more time. Let me hear you actually try to sell an Xbox, because I'm really interested in how you would actually approach somebody, try to sell to them. What features you think are the best about Xbox, and package them into a promo and be like, this is why you need to get an Xbox. Just try really hard and see if you can nail it. Because I already have something formulated in my head about how I would sell an Xbox to somebody.
Well, it's hard, man. I haven't got the salesman voice like you have, but you talk about things like 4K Blu-ray player, you know. But even that's like kind of niche. You can talk about things like Xbox Game Pass, which is great value for money, get all these games for a low monthly fee. You can talk about the fact that Xbox Live is reportedly the most reliable network and throw out some stats and figures about that. You can talk about the fact that the Xbox One controller is the most popular controller, the Xbox controller, because of PC and stuff like that. You know, it's hard to be creative when it's midnight and you're really tired frankly.
True. Maybe next time we'll prepare better for the debate where we can actually get Jez to have actual talking points instead of springing this on him.
What about Connect? You can play.
I mean,
play
you
games on your
kind of touched on it. And be like, okay, so you're looking to buy an Xbox. If you're looking to buy an Xbox or a PlayStation, I'm gonna tell you all the reasons why you should get an Xbox over a PlayStation. One, what really matters is not the games you're playing, it's how you play them. And the Xbox controller is a superior device than that Fisher Price toy that the PlayStation will give you. You don't want your hands to get cramped when you're playing your games. That's why you need to play with the Xbox One. But if you're talking about games, well, we got Halo, Gears, and Forza. We have all the multiplats. And sure, while they may run at a lower resolution on the base Xbox, they're all there for you to enjoy. But if you're looking to play a ton of games, well, we have the service called Xbox Game Pass for you. For $10, you can play over 150 games at your leisure. New games like Warhammer Vermintide 2, as well as all of our own games like Sea of Thieves and Halo 5. But more than that, we also have Xbox backwards compatibility. While Sony may tout a huge lineup, we have more because we have 500 games stretching back from the original Xbox to the Xbox 360. And seeing how young you are, you probably haven't experienced any of these true gems like BioShock or Dead Space. Well, you can play them natively on your Xbox where you would have to stream it on your PlayStation, and that costs extra money. And we want everything to be as cheap as possible. Also, if you're into movies, we have a great 4K Blu-ray player. Hook up your 4K TV. You can experience all the best that movies have to offer in the best resolution. And also, if you want to potentially get some more free games, you can bug users on Xbox to try to get them to buy you games through the buy a game, buy a gift feature on the Xbox One. Because I get that tons of times, Jez. People send me messages every day about please buy me a game, and I never do it.
Oh man,
I think I sold the PlayStation better than I sold the Xbox, but
I think you did.
I think I did.
The PlayStation's probably the better box to get if you're a gamer. To be honest,
someone's gonna clip that, and then they're gonna play that. And then it's going to reverberate around. Just said
it just has more games, and the whole, especially with Fortnite being as popular as it is, Microsoft still has work to do, and that's why they just bought 5 studios.
That's true. Shout out to the Osman for the super chat. He says, "Great show, lads. Really appreciate it." Anyways, we will take the debate thing back to the drawing board and come out with a better one next week. We need to figure out something. But in the meantime,
I'm just too tired.
Jez is a little bit tired, so let's
And also, I'm just not very smart.
We'll take a couple questions and then we will get out of here.
Questions.
Jay Venue wants to know: should Microsoft partner with Google for next gen to share the costs with VR and AR streaming Alexa Connect? No. Jez says no immediately. No. He says no. Next question. Lady Foxfire says, I agree with Jez. I don't like white consoles. I mean, I would prefer black consoles as well. I'm not really a fan of the white.
It's weird to me. I had Mega Drive, my Sega Genesis was black, Xbox One X is black, PlayStation 2 is black. All my favorite consoles, and Dreamcast flopped. I'm not saying it's anything to do with the choice of color they used, but maybe it is, man.
Irrelevant Native says, I want a scripted debate, but using each other's accents. Oh boy.
Oh god, I can't do American on demand.
Yeah. Shout out to the Ravenflow for the super chat. He says, don't forget that PlayStation is the prime fighting game community platform. Well, that is true. Gunstar wants to know, given Microsoft's sheer size, software expertise, and cash reserves, do you think there is any way the PlayStation 5 will have the hardware advantage again come next generation?
I don't think Microsoft are going to give that away ever again. I think they're gonna invest big. I think if Microsoft lets Sony have a hardware advantage, it'll be huge it'll be the result of a huge cock up. I don't think Microsoft are going to spare any expense there, and there are rumors around that Microsoft might even be getting into processors.
Oh,
so so they might start making their own processors too. They're not going to be behind, I don't think. If they are, it'll be the result of some massive screw up.
right. Face wants to know, does the PS4 infrastructure have anything to do with Sony not doing crossplay? Like the infrastructure is so bad it can't support crossplay, and that's why they're not doing it. I mean, I can't imagine that's the case. I mean, can you imagine that's the case, Jez? Like, we're not doing crossplay because our infrastructure is just shit?
No, well, first of all, it doesn't matter if their infrastructure is bad, because it wouldn't be their infrastructure, would it?
They would just be connecting to usually a third-party server, right?
Yeah, true though. Trybird says Microsoft can't make processors if they're x86. Yeah, I know, but they do have x86 emulation now, and they do also, they're doing work in that area. I mean, I'm not saying like they'd make an x86 processor and like replace the whole chipset, but they might like have a co-processor that offloads tasks and stuff like that. Like an AI, like HoloLens. The next HoloLens is rumored to have an AI co-processor. So like, imagine if the next Xbox has an AI co-processor made by Microsoft that offloads AI from the CPU to this co-processor, which basically, frees up those threads for other things. That's how. That's one way Microsoft could get ahead. But then again, that might give devs a problem again with stuff like the SRAM on the Xbox, the base Xbox One. Like, devs didn't know how to use it and stuff like that. But at the end, you have to also remember, Microsoft also owns Simply Gone, and they also own Havok, and Havok's like the most used physics engine. So what if they make a processor that is literally just for Havok, and it runs all the Havok stuff off the CPU and the GPU? So that's one way they could one up Sony, because they have those systems now in place. They didn't buy those companies for fun. They bought them for a reason, and they've already got there's a co-processor on the X for audio, isn't there, or something like that? So
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, Havok is CPU. Well, they could do something to offload processor cycles, whatever. Who knows, man? Who knows?
Right. Shout out to the Indie Gamer for the super chat. It says, awesome show as always, guys. Top work. Thank you. We appreciate it. Let's see. What other questions do we have here? Let's see. Constant Rain wants to know if the next gen Xbox games will be playable on Xbox One through a streaming service. I do think, as much as I don't want this, I do think at least the Xbox One X will be forward compatible. Where, say, Halo Infinite, or let's say the next Fable is an Xbox 2 game, but you'll also be able to play it on your Xbox One, potentially through a streaming service. But I also think it could probably play natively on the next. I know you've kind of been.
I think it will play natively on the base Xbox One.
Yeah, I know. At some point I wonder if that will affect the future game development of games, instead of being able to, dev for the new system
on PC, man.
Yeah, well, the PC sucks.
Well, Xbox has got PC architecture.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Well, I do feel that Microsoft, I think Sony will do that, where PlayStation 5 games are going to be played on PlayStation 5. But I feel like Microsoft's strategy is about playing the games where you want to play on the device that you own, whether that device is the base Xbox or the next gen Xbox or the PC or the TV. At some point, you'll be able to play it wherever you want to. That's what I think. But anyways, we are going to get going. Thank you guys for hanging out with us on Friday. We're sorry we're doing it on a different day today. You can all blame Jazz. Make sure you do hashtag blame Jazz in chat. We'll be back hopefully a Thursday next week, which is going to be the new date for the show. We're going to aim for doing it on Thursdays because it's easier for Jez. We want to make things as easy for Jez as possible. If you have any debate topics you want to see me and Jez debate on, make sure you tweet or DM me and Jez and give us a good, interesting topic. And you know what? To keep things interesting, I'll always shill for the thing that Jez doesn't know so much about. Like, clearly, Jez wasn't ready to sell PlayStation to anybody, even if his job depended on it.
To be honest, I couldn't sell Xbox to anyone. I'm just
you probably couldn't. Yeah,
I'm just not. I'm not a salesman.
Yeah, really. Jez isn't really a salesman, but we hope you guys enjoyed the show. Jez, where can people find you, and what do you got going on for next week?
Follow me on Twitter at Jez Corden, JZCORDN. I am doing nothing special at the minute. I am sort of waiting for the next leaks to pop up. Now that Redstone 5 is on the skip ahead ring, who knows what might happen. But summer's boring in gaming. It's usually boring. There's like, I'm looking forward to Earthfall next week. Is it next week?
Next week, as well as Warhammer Vermintide 2. A lot of different games are going to be coming out next week. So, yeah. You know, a lot of games coming out. I'll probably be doing a couple videos or reviews for a couple of them as well, whatever I feel like talking about. But anyways, thank you guys for watching here on YouTube or on iTunes or SoundCloud or Google Play. We appreciate it. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you leave a thumbs up, as it helps out the video and the channel a lot. If it's your first time here, if you just haven't subscribed yet, do me that favor and hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, so you're always notified when this podcast go live, as well as all my other videos. Thanks you guys for watching, and we'll see you on Thursday next week. Later.
Take care, guys.